Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today we're going to be going over gaming news, which is March 30th through April 5th. Today we're going to be going over a correction that I need to make. We're going to finally find out who's going to buy Gearbox, which will kind of, focus on their future a little bit, and the future of Borderlands. We haven't had a Borderlands game in a few years. Also an update on The Witcher 4 and what CD Projekt Red is focusing on. Also Suicide Squad, how Season 1 is going. We're going to go over the No Man's Sky update, Orbital, which is amazing that we're getting another one. We've had so many, there's been 12 of those now. Also, an issue with Apex Legends right now. Let me know if that's fixed, by the way, when we go over it. And then also COD's new characters, which don't necessarily make a lot of sense in this day and age. We'll go over that. I just find it kind of funny. And then Tekken 8 is adding more microtransactions, yay. And then we're going to go over Marvel Rivals a little bit. It's a new game that's coming out later this year. And then we're going to go over game releases at the end this month for April. So, yeah, kind of what to look for this month. So, hey, thanks for joining and all that, folks. You can always like and sub if you'd like at YouTube at Gaming Garbage 22 and also at Twitch at Don't Shit On Thee. But also share the content if you enjoy it. And I do a lot more than just gaming news. There's co-ops, there's going over kind of deep dives in the gaming industry, and then just some solo stuff that I, of course, play myself, and reviews whenever I have the money to do so. Also, if the audio sounds a little different, it's because I also have a new headset. I have a Rig 800. I will be doing a review later this month after I've had some practice, and thank you for being patient with whatever audio issues, if they ever come up, or issues with game audio being too loud or too quiet or whatever. So I'm just kind of figuring out the new headset. So hey, let's go ahead and get into this. So the correction that I have to make, I've had a few videos now where I've talked about the gaming industry total revenue last year was about $600 billion. And we've seen a lot of growth in the gaming industry in the last several years. And it's been pretty wild. We've had the stimulus money through the lockdowns because basically, entire cities were shut down and stuff. And it wasn't just here. It was around the world. And so stimulus was like a form of artificial production, but no extra goods or services were used. And so you had all of that money flowing in. That's why we enjoyed inflation around the world and are still enjoying inflation around the world, which is nice. Remember, you can't cheat economics. And so this also bolstered the gaming industry. This wasn't just gaming. It was practically everything. Now we're even seeing $20 an hour minimum wage now in California, which, boy, yeah, their inflation is going to get worse next year, which is horrible. I can't even imagine. So anyway, yeah, the correction was it's not 600 billion. I really tried finding that number again. I was doing some more research for this news yesterday and came across that and was just like, man, I can't find 600 billion. I can find 186 billion globally for the gaming industry, which includes mobile, but I'm unable to find 600 billion. So I was trying to figure out how maybe I got that. Maybe I switched some numbers around. I know the U.S. revenue alone was 60 billion, so maybe I just accidentally added a zero or something, and we try to always keep information accurate here on the channel, so sorry about that. So yeah, 186 billion was 2023. It's possible too it could have been a projection that I was seeing, because there's also some projection charts all the way out to 28 or 29, which is pretty far away in my opinion, but they're projecting that to also be 600 billion by then. So not exactly sure how I got the number, but I just wanted to correct that. So next is Gearbox, where they're going to be bought by Take-Two Interactive. Again, this is 460 million. And the reason they're actually owned by Embracer Group, they bought them not too long ago, several years ago. And the reason they're selling them is because they just don't think that they can really utilize them like they can with their other stuff. Embracer Group is also selling Saber Interactive, and some of the sub-studios or subsidiary studios are also going with Saber in that deal, and that's being bought by Beacon Entertainment. And I'm happy to see that one, but Take-Two Interactive, it does make sense because they have worked with the Gearbox in the past and with some of the IPs like Borderlands. But the thing that I don't like about Take-Two Interactive is we probably recognize them, right? they own 2K games, and a lot of 2K games have a ton of microtransactions, which I'm not a fan of. Also, they have 2K Sports, so like 2K NBA, one of the worst games, sports games, downvoted for last year, which is how just frustrating the microtransactions were. Even the Black Mamba edition, which was like $150 for just digital stuff, that's just insane. And then Take-Two Interactive also has Rockstar. And so Rockstar is actually allowed to produce some pretty good games. And as we know, Grand Theft Auto 5 ran for over a decade now, which is pretty incredible. And we can expect probably Grand Theft Auto 6 in 25 or 26. If there's no delays and stuff like that. If it's actually supposed to come out like it's supposed to, we can probably expect 25. But if there is a delay coupled with it, which these delays generally seem to be getting longer, we can probably expect it in 26. Yeah, Gearbox is mostly known for Borderlands, and I thought this was ironic too. The CEO of Embracer said, after some of their sales that they've done, they're working on being finalized, is that, we're simply, quote, going to make better products and games. And it's like, weren't you supposed to be doing that already? Like, that is what makes a good business model, is doing the best that you can, putting your best foot forward, and managing your risk, managing your overhead cost, and making sure you're profitable and staying within those margins. But yeah, they haven't been doing very well. They kind of went on a spending spree when gaming was getting big because we had all of that stimulus money. And yeah, now they're having to sell Saber Interactive and selling Gearbox, which looks like Saber's going to be about $500 million as well. It's starting at about 260-ish, but could easily go up from that if Beacon wants to continue to add more stuff to it, as they have that option available. So that'll be interesting. So yeah, Gearbox and Borderlands is going to go to Take-Two Interactive. They do make some great stuff as a publisher, but also there's some horrible microtransaction games in there too. So we'll see what happens with Borderlands. Yeah, I can't wait to buy my guns instead of just farm them. Next is Witcher 4. So CD Projekt Red, we know, has been working on Witcher 4. They announced this, I think, a couple of years ago in 2022. So we know it's around. We just got like a cover art, and we're still not going to see anything close. But something that was promising is, quote, this isn't going to be Witcher 3 with new clothes. They really end quote. They really plan on making a new type of Witcher game, open world, different game mechanics. Not like completely new game mechanics, I don't think they're doing that, but just they're going to overhaul what Witcher 3 was and try to improve it for the player experience. And I'm so excited to hear that. We know that Cyberpunk released way early ahead of where it was supposed to be. It was maybe too big of a project, and I'm glad they were allowed to actually work on fixing that, and or that they decided to stick with it, even though people were like, oh man, just let it die, please. But they really stuck with the project. $120 million later, just in cost to fix the game. And it is one of the most expensive games ever to be made to date. It was over $600 million. When you factor in refunds, what the budget of the game, the marketing, all of that stuff, plus the $120 million to fix it. Yeah, it's one of the most expensive games ever, but they did a wonderful job. And so now we know that The Witcher 4 has a total of 400 devs, which is quite a bit. That's actually more than what Cyberpunk 2077 had. And so this is going to be actually a pretty big game, so we can expect that things are going to be more refined. They understand that they messed up initially with Cyberpunk, and so they want to avoid that mistake, which is wonderful. And they don't want to just rehash another Witcher. They actually want to improve it or add some things to the game and make it better. They did also say that there's no release date yet for Witcher 4, just a little update on what they're doing. And they have said too that there is no room for microtransactions in their single player games. Frick yeah. I am excited about that. Thank you, CD Projekt Red. You got my vote for Witcher 4. So, I think that's going to be pretty good. Next is Suicide Squad Season 1. We just had that drop not too long ago. I know there's been plenty of videos, but I just want to touch on it a little bit. Pretty much everything about it shouts low effort. unfortunately. Now, this is made by Rocksteady, and this is a game that made the Batman Arkham Knight games, and really enjoyed those, right? Those were well done, told a good story, really matched the characters, met expectations, even exceeded expectations, and like people were even using it to look at of Gotham Knights versus the old Batman Arkham series, and like Arkham was really well done. And even the effects and stuff looked better, but comparing it with Suicide Squad, it's a totally different game, and I think we really started realizing that on day one. There were already bugs. This was going to be a live service game, unfortunately. All of the heroes really don't have their iconic weapons. It's all guns for everybody, and Joker isn't any different. It's still firearms. His main way to get around is using the Mary Poppins umbrella, which it kind of makes it feel, in my opinion, more of a Fortnite thing, which would fit in Fortnite, because that's kind of how they've made the game, and what they're going for is bringing in licensed IPs, right, and letting you be able to play them. But for the Joker, I don't see them as moving around, him moving around as an umbrella. It just kind of looks out of place a little bit. But to get the Joker, you first have to be level 35. Now, of course, with how everybody has been playing Suicide Squad, most people probably aren't. And so there's no new story missions either. You just have to regrind stuff to get to level 35 so you can play the mission to unlock the Joker. If you have someone in your party that isn't level 35, but you are, and you guys are trying to do the mission, well, the player that isn't is unable to join, which sucks. And so you gotta wait till everybody, like if you play with friends and stuff, which is the idea, 4-player co-op, you have to wait till everybody's at level 35, and then you can actually do the mission. There's no new enemies, they're just reskinned. There's comic action cutscenes, which aren't necessarily bad when they're done well, but here we've had animations in the first game, in the base game, and then the season has cartoon animation. And kind of like side-scroll movement with some of the characters. Like, it's not procedurally generated or oh god, I'd hope not. It still looks like it's done by somebody, so it still looks good for like a cartoon style. But think of like kind of like Gollum, right? That had some comic action cutscenes in there. Yeah, there's very little animation. Also, the boss fight is reskinned. So instead of the Flash this time, they're just reskinning Green Lantern, and you're just redoing the Green Lantern fight. There's literally nothing different about it. It's exactly the same. So why you would play as Joker and replay the game, basically with nothing else, it doesn't make any sense. It gets very boring for a lot of people very quick. Even though he is technically free, you can buy him for $10. If you don't want to plow through the rest of your levels to get to level 35, so there's always that. And it makes me wonder too if reskinning the boss fight, now we've seen that twice now with Brainiac, if we're going to reskin the boss fight, we still have 11 more Brainiacs technically that we know of in the game. So is every single one of them going to be reskinned? Is every single one, are we just on a rotation here of like Flash, Green Lantern, Batman, Superman, and just repeat again? And 3 times over, plus 1 extra at the end for a total of 13? Like, that makes no sense to me. I understand, the grind of a live service game. We kind of generally expect that, but to pay $70 for this, and then, hey, we're going to make you have to be level 35. Instead of just jumping in and getting the character for free, we're going to make you grind for it. And maybe some of you are impatient enough, you'll actually pay $10 for this. Like, it just sounds really, really crappy to me. Because not everybody has a ton of willpower. Maybe not the most enduring folks or gamers are willing to wait that long, and so then they buy $10, and the animation does look very good on Joker, and Joker does actually run and work really well in the game. But again, there's nothing new about it, and also the way Joker is done is just not the Joker that we know. He comes across more of someone in their 20s, kind of just whiny and just kind of immature and not a force to be reckoned with, if that makes sense. And even there's a scene in there where like Harley Quinn is talking to him, and the Joker just doesn't say anything. As if she's like not even there. So yeah, just nothing is right about this. If you've played it, how is it? Let me know. Let us know in the comments. Taking a look at Steam charts. So day one, we were from about 200 players, 300 players, up to 3,000. So we got a lot of players that came back. On Steam charts, again, the total peak was 13,000 players, so quite a few came back. Day 2, it was down 66%, down to about 1,000 players, and right now that's holding steady around 800 to 1,000 players so far. But yeah, a lot of people left. Day 1, they're like, nope, they're probably having to regrind to get to level 35, and they're like, no flipping way. No, I'm not going to pay for this. I'm out. F this stuff, I'm out. Anyway. So, yeah. And then what's worse is we also had hackers. This was put out on Saturday, or on Friday, excuse me. And they found that they found some of the later characters in the game. So, and they also saw some new skin options for current characters. And so it's like, okay, so now we kind of know who we can expect, how many seasons this is going to go on, which you're going to have like 2 boss fights per season. And I mean, this is just awful. Hackers actually being able to get in and leak some stuff about future seasons. If you're curious, go ahead and take a look. It's out there. It's online, and some speculation too. Just make sure you know what you're reading. But yeah, Suicide Squad Season 1, it's a disaster, in my opinion. Just nothing good about this. Next, we're going to go over No Man's Sky update, Orbital. So again, this is a game that launched horribly. I was there for it. I even stood in line for it and was like, what the frick is this? And it's been vastly improved. It's also come out to other consoles, which is nice, like on Xbox. And it's definitely a well-done salvage project. Now, every single update that they've had, it's been free, because they know they totally foobarred the game. For those of us that were there at the very beginning at launch, we know how foobarred it was, and I am never going to forget that. That's when I knew that the gaming industry was kind of garbage, and hence the name of this channel. And so, but it's been vastly improved. There's been a lot of things that have been free. There's been a lot of, things and features that have been added. And so Orbital gives you more options for salvaging ships. You're able to actually build ships from scratch, so to speak. But it's a simple template. Like you have a left wing, a right wing, a cockpit, and thrusters. But you're able to basically kind of look for parts. You're able to salvage that stuff. And then you're actually to have that option of that particular design for your ship. And you can also create some asymmetrical stuff too. It's not just having to be symmetrical every time. You can kind of mix and match however you would like with the parts that you have, which is nice. There's also colors, and you can also change the textures with matte or with metallic kind of paint or whatever, and you can change. Yeah, it's cool. Like, it's kind of a fun little ship feature. I did see some people were like, "Oh, hey, it's it's showing up No Man's Sky, or not No Man's Sky. It's showing up Starfield Ships Builder," and no, it's totally far from it. Starfield Ship Builder is way better than this. This is a much simpler version, and I think they wanted to keep it that way to engage with the vast majority of players, because most of us that probably play No Man's Sky, it's not for the multiplayer. It's just to kind of enjoy a game casually, chill, low-key, whatever, and just explore and enjoy, have fun with the game. There's added features for fleet missions, like your crew can be infected now, and they've added some other dynamic things for fleet missions that can also affect. But like with infected crew, you can choose to either quarantine them, and hopefully that'll work out, or you can basically vent them into space and ensure the survival of the rest of your crew. So there's also some decision making with how it's going to affect your missions. There's also an overhaul on guilds. There's an overhaul on space stations. So for space stations, there's like better cosmetics. There's wider variety. They're also larger scale. They're not as cookie cuttered as they used to be, and there's also improved vendors, and with what they sell and how it affects the races and all of that type of stuff. There's also 26 new base building parts, um, in some of its furniture, some of its walls, or etc. You know, and this is actually quite a large update. And again, it's free. I know Lion wants me to be able to get back into No Man's Sky. I would like to try it again by myself because it would totally be a different game by now. I probably wouldn't even really recognize it because there's like 12 or 13 updates now. Like, it's crazy. Like, this has more updates, I think, than Fallout 76. And I don't know of another game except for maybe EVE Online, EverQuest, and World of Warcraft that actually has more updates than Starfield does. Starfield has a ton of updates, like they're continuing to support this game, which I think is wonderful, and it does make me excited for No Earth, or whatever that title is. No Person's Earth. They're making a new game, folks, and it's basically a large-scale world of Earth, and you can explore to your heart's content. You can have things to write on. It's kind of set also in a fantasy type instead of sci-fi. But I am leery too, because I really got burned on that one. That's probably the biggest game I've gotten burned on in my life to date so far. But yeah, we'll have to see what their next game's like. We got to see a trailer. If you haven't seen it, you can look it up. It's by Hello Games. Just type in, Hello Games trailer or next game, and it should show up. Next, Apex Legends. It's broken. So there was a new patch to the game. Again, this is a free-to-play game, but of course a lot of people enjoy paying for it. And it was a widespread account resets and also battle pass progression loss. Which, if your game is free to play, but the thing is microtransactions, which is acceptable. You got to make money somehow. But boy, if you have a patch that totally messes all of that up, that is not good. This is really getting some heat on Reddit, and Respawn is working on acting quickly. Technically, as far as I know, there's no fixes yet as of Friday. But if you do play, go ahead and let us know how it's going, or if it's been fixed, or if there's been updates by now, as I got this data yesterday. But yeah, there's also no idea how long this is going to take. They got to figure out exactly what's going on and how the patch screwed stuff for everybody, and then fix it. So, I don't know. It might be a while. I would hope it's fixed by now, but boy, they can't let it go on too long. Otherwise, the main thing that keep people playing, it's like, well, oops. And also, they can't make sure that this happens again. Like, if you have repeated issues in a free live service game where there's other competitors, you're just going to go to the competitor. So, yeah, they better get this fixed quick. Next is Call of Duty. They always have, like, licensed bundles like Da Boys and all sorts of other fun stuff. Nicki Minaj, because we all want to be her. And, but now we're getting Cheech and Chong. A bundle of 2 skins, actually. This is April 20th, which is very fitting. Let me know if you know who Cheech and Chong are, if you're watching this. Most of us probably don't, and so I kind of feel like this one is a little out of place, but you can expect it to be, again, $20 or 2,400 points. You get 3 blueprints, a charm for your bracelet, a sticker for your notebook, a decal for your 1980s car, a loading screen, because we all love those, and then a second-hand smoke finishing move, because, yeah, smoke kills people, folks. Please don't do it. So these are actually done and voiced by the real men. They're actually still alive, and they're actually quite old. So how old are they? Well, Cheech was born in 1946, right after the World War II was over, thank goodness. And then the Chong, this is so insane. Chong was born in 1938, basically at the start of World War II for Europe. And so they're both still living, but this just seems random. Like, are they running out of licensing, or are some people starting to say no, and so they just needed kind of a filler? And they're still active today. They still kind of do things like they've hosted an award show in 2020. They've been at some like Comic-Cons. they're still kind of in the limelight. They're also still doing stand-up, especially Cheech. I think, and he's actually pretty good at stand-up if you haven't seen him. He's pretty funny. But yeah, they were well known in the 70s, folks. So even if you were born in the 90s, you really have no idea who these people are. And anyway, 20 bucks. Also, Rebirth Island is back for Warzone, so have fun. And something too with Call of Duty was like, this was crazy. So I was taking a look at Call of Duty on my system. Now I bought Modern Warfare 2. I did buy Modern Warfare 3 just for the review, and then I took it off. But right now I found out that my save file was 279 gigs. If you can believe that. That is crazy. 279 gigs. And then I needed 50 for my save files, where I was only using 8 megabytes of that, and then the other 49.7 was just in reserve for whatever. So a total of 329 gigabytes for Call of Duty on my system. Needless to say, I took it off because I'd rather play other stuff. But that is insane. So I did go back and see about reinstalling Warzone, which is 13 gigabytes, by the way. But the thing that surprised me is that the base game is 125 gigs. 125 gigs for the base game. This does not include anything from Modern Warfare 2, including DMZ, multiplayer, co-op missions. It does not include any of that. The multiplayer. It just blows my mind. It also does not include the Modern Warfare 3 campaign or the Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer. And it also does not include Warzone. So 125 gigs for what? We know that Call of Duty HQ, which hubs all of these games together, is about 50 gigs. So what the frick is the other 75 gigs? It could be the zombies. So it's probably included that. But if it's not the campaigns, if it's not the multiplayer, if it's not Warzone, I don't know what the frick that is. 75 gigs is insane, folks. Some of the interfacing, but again, 75 gigs? My guess is that's actually how much the bundles are. How big the bundles are. 75 gigs of bundles. Because you don't download them when you buy them, you just get access right away because they're already downloaded. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Is it, if you just have Modern Warfare 3, how big is your game? I think it's over 200 still, but God, the game is just getting totally insane. And then it makes me curious too, is that if we're going to have more companies, like Ubisoft is going to make a hub as well for Assassin's Creed, if we start having these hub for games, is there just going to be more and more stuff added that we don't necessarily need? Because again, I just want Warzone. That's 13 gigs. But I have to, at a minimum, have the base game plus Warzone so that I can actually interact with folks, which is over 130 gigs. And that's crazy. And by default, you download a ton. So if you just select, default, it's like over 200 gigs just to download Warzone. And if you pick and choose, it's a minimum of like 137. But games too, they're just getting bigger. I really think just not on top of these hubs possibly taking up so much more size, the console developers also need to understand, hey, that we need a minimum of 2 terabyte hard drives now. People are already starting to call for this, but I'm just very curious how this is going to work out with Assassin's Creed Infinity, or if EA is going to ever do this with kind of like their football club or like with Madden. And what are some others out there? I guess 2K as well, if they're able to do this with like 2K NBA or whatever else they do. I'm not in sports games. But it just really surprises me because the sheer file size of Call of Duty right now, with the hub and meshing all of these games together, it's just crazy. Because we're taking a look at Elden Ring, and that's like around 55, 60 gigs for the entire game, folks. And then we're also looking at Apex Legends at under 100. There's somewhere between 75 and 100 gigs for Apex Legends. And even like Battlefield 2042 is about 100 gigs. So why the frick was my file size so freaking big? Is kind of concerning. And it's also like the save file space. I didn't need 50 gigs of save file space. All of my saved stuff anyway is on a server at Activision. It's not on my console. Just my settings are, which is 8 megabytes. That's it. The other 49 gigs just sits there. For what purpose? That's just kind of scammy. That's almost all of Elden Ring right there. Anyway, what do you guys think about that? I just think that's just really interesting. Next is Tekken 8. They're having a battle pass. Woo! Hey, if you love live service, this is basically live service news. That's probably what I should have titled it. So they're getting a battle pass, and we're going to get free tracks of 60 levels, and then it does give you enough points to actually buy it at the end if you run through the entire thing. And then there's you do get free stuff. So again, the 60 levels isn't all just 60 levels of free stuff. It's a mixture of actual paid battle pass and actual some free stuff sprinkled in there, like about every 5 levels or so you're getting something for free. The thing that sucks is that you can only purchase 1,000 points, like 500 or 1,000 points. And so you can't buy the 600 you need, which again, we've seen this with Diablo 4, we've seen this with Overwatch 2, we've seen this with other live service games like COD. So you can't actually buy what you need. And of course, this is all done on purpose so that you actually spend more than what you need. Which NBA actually got in trouble for this. But they circumvented it, which is stupid. Anyway, so yeah, you need to buy at least $10 worth of points for just $6 for your pass, which is on purpose, of course. Unless you're able to work through it. And then there's a premium battle pass on top of that, so there's actually 2 battle passes. The premium has 20 levels for $20 or 2,000 points. And yeah, that's an additional $20 on top of the 10 that you need to buy, or the 60 or the $6 you need to grind for first. So at least, yeah, you can earn that. Okay, that's something we learned from Fortnite, right? We can all thank Fortnite for this Battle Pass stuff. I would rather have like a season pass, like with Battlefield 5 or with Battlefield 1 or like with Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3. We actually had like battle passes, or not battle passes, but season passes for this. Got a drop of maybe some story stuff, maybe some cosmetics, maybe some maps, some zombie stuff, like, and it was basically it was basically $15. If you bought it as a season pass, it was $50 for all 4, which was nice. Some of them actually had 5, which was cool. Felt like we were getting some extra stuff there. So yeah, what is frustrating for most players is that Tekken 7, if we remember, they ended up having these types of items for free, and now we have to pay for them, or grind them out to death. Just grind just to get there. So, what do you think about this? Personally, I think it's a bummer, but everything is going microtransaction and battle pass, and just I think eventually the whole thing is basically going to cave in itself. I don't think it's going to entirely disappear, but I think we're getting to a point where companies, including Sony, are like, hey, time out. We're going to need to figure this out. And that's why they delayed 6 of their 12 live service games. You know why Embracer Group is selling like Gearbox and Saber Interactive. It's because it's not entirely profitable anymore like it used to be. Also, we're going to get Marvel Rivals. Now, this is going to be like an Overwatch clone. This is going to be 6 versus 6, and except it's with Marvel characters and abilities and stuff. So, this is going to be made by NetEase. They usually make mobile games. They're a Chinese company, and they actually generally make some pretty good stuff. They actually made EVE Online for mobile, and it's a really well done game. It runs great. We can also expect probably a battle pass of some sort, or microtransactions. They're very well known too for their microtransactions that they make. But yeah, Marvel Rivals is going to be coming out later this year. So games releasing this month for April. I didn't, of course, include them all, just kind of the bigger ones. But we're going to get Grounded on other consoles on the 16th, and it'll be on all consoles. We're also going to be getting Another Crab's Treasure on the 25th. This will also be on all consoles. We're also going to get Sandland on the 26th. This will be PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. We're also going to get Stellar Blade which is also the 26th on PlayStation 5, and then we're also going to get Sea of Thieves at the end of the month on the 30th for PlayStation 5. And that'll be cross-platform too, by the way, so you're able to engage with all your Xbox and PC buddies, and I really enjoy when things are cross-platform. It's just all-inclusive of everybody, and your player base is bigger too. Maybe it's kind of a slower, kind of slowly dying game, but when you have cross-platform, you're just opening it up for more people that are playing and engaging with each other, and it keeps the game going for those that enjoy it, which I think that's cool. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, folks. Of course, you can always follow me over at GamingGarbage22, and you can also follow me over at Twitch at Don't Tread on Thee. And hopefully you guys are doing well. Boy, there's been some stuff in the news lately around the world. Boy, stay safe out there. And I'll see you guys on the next one.